Skole ngambulo luku. With whatever we do. Jioni safu nola. With whatever we do. Hale yidemu new school. Nyepamne nekudlukula. Nyepangiragala gena. Nyepamne nekudlukula. Ibuloke nongoto ni beti sola. Ibuloke ndato ni betoto.
Bigi Congo.
Lamin.
Na.
Lamin te jibe norin te nyamen Lamin.
Kama na wulo kono.
Wulo kono nyinta mo Lamin.
Pa bilenki.
Muna ngata afongole.
Haina.
Ngata. Ngoto le. Fabrama.
Mingi. Baba nyola.
Ngoto le Fabrama.
Namu jumala kan kuma ni ten.
Fabrama.
Jumala mu.
Ndele bare muso.
Nunda mana.
Kamo kata.
Jamani mbere.
Alindo ko.
Jamani.
Bari ngoto man kontande.
Bari jamani fana na mundu ma ko kontan.
Ngoto minaka ngala min je fon filitala. Lamin jibe nori nyala.
Lamin ila siran sama na benki. Yala so tol sign no ko ngol ko momo.
Ngoto.
Nam.
Ite karamu ngoto. Anu santeng ministry ko di ngole si suwo ko amake ko do holi de
si bitun
bagona de
Sibitu.
alandi ku kede namo balo
alandi na ko na karta bulo be damina alandi je
ngoto
nam
ngoto man ko
Baba.
karambuwol ma soron ni ko karambuwol soron da amake comme holiday la ngoto dini wonyanta silala ala karangola mo yamen kamen fue man kontan anda mande
alla nyin kombo courant adanda la kombo len do la jankara mol soron da doron kamen courant ma ra la kombo e don dol fana na karamol soron je karamol soron lamin ada lo nyino la amon tara fe na sokon ala mu nekela
ama lamin ite foyde malon ko lesinol be ke kar radio to
Nga fine.
e ko nyani mo lamin
Nga fine.
ya mu na fonye
bir kabin mina kan tambita nteri maning fatu
ha
tambite la sugal ala dinngol bebe siri be la moy ka
faru dan so am fana tambira jele ni subala la ngaje diningol be jet talanta nen kili warol e be serin jele
sa lamin fadante ku kili wo ke no la ba lamin bita ka wulo ko no nyin taymo alamin
ama dara fenela
ite dine ko di man si yakaru la suno la moy radio to e balon na
mu ne ka ke afonye ma nyaara ni alon
telentel jikot
afonye ma mu de be ke
ite balontel be jikritel ni man parambe ku kele yaje nata karana mbasa malaya ay tarije
par ñarande kombo courant ho findira kombo ide na rajede ni sonka bay ko lamin ma ñata la wulo ko karam mo be so da fa ne membe
ko to wole nati bayo ngalle ni lamin kuntala kombo courant o ka fa me kombo courant asototal wala kinay ko e sisu wo kono bari ni ko e sisu wo kono be karangol di ke la radio lin telel to hani tele masoto to nyaay man tele soto da bongo bar radio be bulen koto batiri sanga ay si ay alamo
sa do kala
nyaadi ko ta wo bulaji
ado kala nyaadi
kamun ke nyaadi
radio abe wala mo la be mona falaje
ibe la karandirol kala jele
ti talle be radio ko men ka karam
ila subjector baby jele baby jele
wala nan ka coco moy fa dan so wolya ngombe tambi ka nga dindi ngol de be ikadum bungo de ko da
ma asototal de
la min mala be kara wala de
bari lafta alal ideal on ko inde every year second wala fourth
muna ni ko di ha ko de ko folle sinila ba ndele sinilo ne ba
mba say mba foke en koto wole fango yen wulindi yalo famo keta bat ñu fadam bulata ko ko me yen nati jambi lamin nyanta karana ndel be jiko be nyineka ya bulay kara wulo kana ta kilar ya bambalo yo be bulaje koto dindi ngoy si ayala le sino la moy radio
wara ka munda karam mo man so lamin nyanta kara si so na radio
la sila le ayala le sino
dal ko korno ko smolo
kilar ya
be ngala ko momo sa mi do ni ko no kera
mengi bruzo
ndebe ko ro la ba ro sa no radio ba no bari woro radio ni abe jele ba do ngamra do man dembe buljan yo ñara ñaar wo ko fendi mo la lamin tayra ba ro sa
bara te ku folo ajibe nori nya labi tamete
mengi mun na re
teku
bari ko do famo ke
ja image nañu ñambol si zol le keje kisigi man si zol no le kafun ka ñoma bari ñambu kilo ni mañana ka ni nambe ko zol la ga ni nambe ko zol la ga
ngalle limbe tade be ñambo do dilanna
ñara ko ridin fennat jara nata
bari famo kada
nata bungono tammi bungono jara
So how many terms do we have in this given expression? We can see that 11 is a term of its own. 8c is also another term. Minus 8 is another term. And minus 5c is another term. So since we are able to identify the terms, in this given expression, we have about 4 terms. Now let's go ahead and identify the variables. Remember we said variables are what? Letters or what? Unknowns are given, right? Variables simply represent what? Letters or unknowns. So we need to solve for. So we have, in this given expression, we can see that we have a variable. And what is that variable? Is the letter C. Okay? We have letter C here. And letter C here is our variable. Apart from our variable letter C, do we have any other variable given? No. Okay, because if you look at 11, 11 stands alone, right? It doesn't have any letters. If you come to minus 8 also, there is no letter, okay? So 11 and minus 8 are also what? They are like terms, but they don't have any variable. So let's collect our variables. We already know that 11 is a number that stands alone without any variable. Do we have any other number that stands alone without any variable? Yes. If you look at the expression, you can see that minus 8 also is a number that stands alone without any variable. So they are like terms. So we bring minus 8. Okay? What else do we need to do? We can see from the given expression that 8c and minus 5c are also what? Like terms. Okay? Why? Because both terms have c in common. So they are like terms. So we collect them. We have plus 8c minus 5c. Good. Now that we have collected our like terms, the next thing that we need to do is to apply the operations. We have 11 minus 8 will give us 3. Now we move on to the other terms. We have plus 8c minus 5c. Plus what? Plus 3 what? 3c. Okay? Now what do we have in the expression now? We have 3 plus 3c. Now can we go ahead and add these two terms? No. Why? It's because three and 3c are not like that. So this is where we can stop. So our final answer is 3 plus 3c. So we move on to the second question, which is B. Okay, we move on to question B, and the question reads 4m plus 2n minus 3m minus n plus m. I'll take it again. 4m plus 2n minus 3m minus n plus m. We have our we need to identify or confirm how many terms do we have in this given expression. Already we can count and see we have 4m, 2n, 3m, minus 3m, and minus n and m. Again, we have said it earlier that terms are separated by what? Either an addition sign or a subtraction sign. So we can see that 4m is a term of its own, is another term. Minus 3m is a term of its own. Minus n is another term, and m is also another term. Okay, so we can say that we have 5 terms here, right? We can confirm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now that we are able to confirm how many terms are in this given expression, the next stage now is to identify what? The variables. Okay? Here we can see that m is a variable, n also is another variable. So we have 2 variables here, m and n. So the next step now is to what? We have to what? To collect the like terms, right? So we can have that 4m. Do we have any other term that has m as a variable? Yes. We have what? Minus 3m. So we bring them together, minus 3m. Do we still have any other term that still have m as a variable? Yes. We have another term which is m here, and it's plus what? Plus m. Okay, now that we have all the m's like grouped together, our next step that we need to do now is to identify the other variable, which is n. Here again, in this given expression, we can see that 2n is what? 2n is a, one term, and we have another term which has n, which is n, right? So we bring them together. So we'll have plus 2n minus n. Okay? So do we have all our variables, all our terms? Yes. The next step now is we just apply the operations. 4m minus 3m will give us m, plus m will give us 2m. So we'll have 2m. Okay? Now we are done with the m's. Now we move on to the n's, right? So we have another 2 terms, and they are like terms, so we apply the operation, and the operation is a minus, right? It's subtraction. So what do we have? We have 2n minus n. 2n minus n will give us plus n. Okay? Okay. Now we have our answer as 2m plus n. But can we go ahead and then add these 2 terms? No, we cannot do that simply because they are what? Unlike terms. Okay? The terms are not the same, so we cannot add them together. So this is exactly where we can stop. So when we simplify this expression here that is given, our final answer will be 2m plus n. So that does it for the corrections. Now we move on to the lesson proper. Okay, and we have a problem here, and it reads, simplify and substitute the following where necessary. If a equals to 2 and b equals to 1, work out the values of these expressions. 1, a plus 3b. Question 2, 3a plus 4b minus a minus 3b. So we are given an expression, and we are asked to solve the values of a and b. Okay? We are asked to find the value of a and b. But it says we need to simplify first. Now if you look at the expression that is given to us, we have a plus 3b. Can we further simplify this expression? No, because already it is simplified. The first term is a, and the second term is 3b. And we already know that since we have unlike terms, we cannot add the 2 terms together. So what we can do now, we just go ahead and substitute the values of a and b. Okay? But if the expression given is not simplified, what you need to do, the first step that you need to take is to first simplify the expression, and then you find the values of the unknown. Okay? You find the values of the unknowns. Okay. So we can now substitute the values of A and B in the expression. And that will give us A, already the value of A is given. The value of A is 2. So we replace A with what? 2. Okay? We have 2 plus. We have 3B. I remember from the previous lesson, you know that 3B simply means what? B plus B plus B. And B plus B plus B will give us what? 3B. Okay? And 3B simply means what? 3 times B. Okay? Good. So what do we need to do here? We open the bracket. 3 into the value of B is given. And the value of B is what? 1. So you just replace B with 1. And then we move on. So what do? We have 2 plus 3 times 1 will give us 3. And then when we add 3 to 2, that is 2 plus 3 will give us 5. So 5 is our final answer. With the given expression 3A plus 3B, if you substitute the value of A and B, which is 2 and 1, the result will be 5. That is, the final answer is 5. Question 2 reads 3A plus 4B minus 3B. I'll take it again. Question 2 reads 3A plus 4B minus A minus 3B. So this is our given expression, and we are asked to first simplify and then solve for the value of A and B. Remember, the values are, for A is still what? A is still 2 and B is what? 1. Okay? Very good. So with this expression given, first we need to identify how many terms are there. Already we know that 3A is a term of its own, 4B is another term, minus A is also a term, and minus 3B. Okay? Okay, once we are able to do that, the next thing that we need to do, we know that we have what? The unknowns here. Those are the variables. And the variables are what? A and B. So let's simplify. We collect like terms, okay? All terms that are the same, we group them together. We have 3A. Do we have any other term that has A as a variable? Yes, minus A is here. So we'll have 3A, and then we bring them together, minus A, because the operation is negative. That is subtraction. What other term do we have? We have 4B. Okay, we bring 4B plus 4B. Do we have any other term that has B as a variable? Yes, we have minus 3B. So we group them together, minus 3B. Okay? Good. What do we need to do now? The next stage now is to apply the operations. We have 3A minus A. They are like terms, so we can, okay? So 3A minus A simply means what? You subtract, you have 3 A's and you subtract 1A. That will give us 2A. Now we move on to the other terms. We have 4B minus 3B. We can go ahead and apply the operation simply because the variables are the same. So the two terms have B in common. So we can subtract. We have 4B minus 3B. Okay, you have 4B's and you subtract 3B's. From 4B you will have what? 1B remaining, okay? So we have plus B. So we have 2A plus B. Can we go ahead and add the two terms? No, we cannot do that simply because the variables are different. In the first term, we have A as the variable. We have 2A. So A is the variable. And in the second term, we have B. So we cannot add them. This is where we can stop with the simplification. This is where we can stop. But then, what are we further asked to do? We are asked to substitute the values of A and B. So we have 2A A plus A. And A plus A means what? That gives us what? 2A. And already we know that 2A simply means 2 times A. Okay, so we go ahead and substitute the value of A. Okay, and the value of A is given and it is 2, so we write 2 in place of A plus the value of B is also given and it is 1. Right? So we go ahead and multiply. 2 times 2 will give us 4 plus 1. And 4 plus 1 will give us 5. So when we simplify the expression, we have 2A plus B, and when we substitute the values of A and B, which is 2 and 1, our final answer is 5. We move on to the next slide. Okay, we have another substitute the following. If P equals to 2 and Q equals to 4, work out the values of these expressions. Now, the first question reads, we know that P equals to 2 and our Q is equals to 4. And our first question reads, 2Q plus 2P. We have 2Q plus 2P. Okay? And we are asked to substitute the values of Q and P. Okay. Now that we have an expression here, and we are asked to first simplify according to the question and then later substitute. But at this stage here, can we simplify this expression? No, we cannot do that simply because we have two terms, and the terms are 2Q and 2P, and the operation is addition. Okay? We cannot add these two terms simply because the variables are not the same. Okay? They are unlike terms. Go ahead and substitute the values of P and Q. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. We have 2Q, okay? So what is the value of Q that is given to us? We know that the value of Q is 4. So we substitute 4 in place of Q. We have 2P, okay? Now, are we given the value of P? Yes. The value of P is 2. So we substitute 2 in the place of what? P. Okay, we move on. Now we can go ahead and then multiply. 2 times 4 will give us 8 plus 2 times 2 will give us 4. We move on. 8 plus 4 will give us what? 8 plus 4 will give us 12. Okay? So, for this given expression, 2Q plus 2P, if you substitute the values of Q and P, which is 2 and 4, our answer will be 12. Okay, we move on to the next question. Okay, question 2 reads, 3P plus 2Q minus 2P minus Q. I'll take that again. Question 2 reads, 3P plus 2Q minus 2P minus Q. Okay? Good. What do we need to do here? The first thing that we need to do is to identify the terms, right? We know that 3P is a term of its own, 2Q is another term, minus 2P is another term, and minus Q is also another term. But how many variables do we have here? How many unknowns do we have? From the given expression, we can see that we have two variables that are unknown. That is P and Q. But thank God, we were given the values of what? P and Q. So we just go ahead and substitute them. Okay? So let's move on. But before we do that, we need to simplify first. Okay? 2P is one term. Do we have any other term in the given expression that also have the letter P? Do we have it? Yes. It's minus 2P. So we have minus 2P. Okay? Is that all for the P's? Yes. We now move on to the Q's. The first, what we have, what? Plus 2Q. Do we have any other term in the given expression that has Q? Yes. We have minus what? Minus Q. Okay? Now that we have grouped all the like terms, the next stage now is just to go ahead and apply the operations, which is addition and subtraction here. So, okay? We have 3P minus 2P. This means that we subtract 2P's from 3P's. And when we do that, we are remain with what? 1P. Okay? So we have P. We move on to the Q's. We have 2Q minus Q. So we have 2 Q's. And if we subtract 1 Q, we are left with Q, right? So we have plus Q. Okay. We now have P plus Q as our expression now. Our expression is P plus Q. But we are given the values of P and Q. So we just go ahead and substitute. What is the value of P that is given? The value of P that is given is 2. So we have 2 in place of P plus. How about Q? The value of Q given is 4. So we substitute 4 in place of Q. So now we can go ahead and add, because we have like terms, right? We can add. So 2 plus 4 will give us what? 6. So with the given expression, if we simplify it, we have P plus Q. And when we substitute the values of P and Q, which is 2 and 4, our answer is 6. We move on. Okay, viewers and listeners, that brings us to the end of this lesson. But before I go, I will leave you with some questions to try. And the questions read, simplify and substitute the following algebraic expressions where necessary. If x is equal to 3 and y equals to 0, work out the values of these expressions. Question 1 reads, x plus 3y. 8 plus 3x minus 6y minus 6. I will take it again. Simplify and substitute the following algebraic expressions where necessary. If x is equals to 3 and y equals to 0, work out the values of these expressions. Question 1 reads, x plus 3y. 8 plus 3x minus 6y minus 6. Okay, thank you so much for being with us.